highly dependent upon financial assistance from federal and/or provincial governments, whatever program that was to be. Now we moved quickly when they announced the Bill Canada funding to present our case for that. And the indication was, and again we said, talk to them when the presentation was, okay, it's one thing to build this plant, but we've got to operate it. We've got to have flows in there to make this plant viable, to meet the costs. And they said, come back to us when you've got the plant underway, and we'll talk to you then. And lots of things can change over that period of time. So it's a matter of reminding them, they've just committed 2/3 of the cost of a plant, and are leaving the residents of our communities, property owners of our community, the task developments. So it is. It's a challenging thing. When they developed the Build Canada funding, there was no talk. The economy was starting to transition. There was lots of demands from municipalities across Canada about the need to address their accumulating infrastructure needs. Roads, bridges, water mains were deteriorating quickly. So the Build Canada fund was put in place. Subsequent to that, the economy went into a nosedive globally, and in an effort to try and respond to that, created the stimulus funding projects in a very short order. We weren't able to take advantage of those, although we went to AMO to apply to say, would you consider our collection systems at this point? And they said, not at this point. We need more time. We need more data on it. So, will there ever be another stimulus fund? You read the tea leaves now. No, they want to get their financial house in order, which we all understand. So, what does that mean for us? Do we then launch into developing collection systems 100% of our costs? So, council has to sit down and weigh that. How can it do that? Partially, it's through a combination of either per lot charges to people, a long-term financing for a system, collection system, working it into development charges, and again, having development pay for its fair share, but as well as working to the rates that people are currently paying for their system to see what's a fair component for them to bear their costs on. So it's a complex issue. Where we need the work of this committee, because we can't move much further on defining what those costs are and how we fund it until we know if we're going to build a system, and if we're going to build a system, what kind of system it's going to be. Because the numbers all fall out of, if it's a gravity sewer system, there's a cost component and a rough estimate of what that's going to be. If it's a low pressure system, it's a rough estimate of what that's going to be. It's a hybrid, a combination of those where it's feasible. Again, it's a whole different scenario. So before we run the numbers on how that could be, and that's what people are really asking for. What is it going to cost me as a property owner to participate in the system? We need to be able to be in a position to tell them what that is. So the work of this committee is vitally important to get a better handle on it. As I said, there was never a sense of, this is coming and it's coming like next year or tomorrow or kind of thing. We really have to work at it in terms of what's sustainable for the ratepayers here, and what's reasonable in terms of implementing this. And that's why we looked at, if there was 2/3 funding and it seemed feasible, and there was some, I'll just use a scenario. Say the low pressure sewer system was the preferred system, and we knew what a rough estimate was. If we could get 2/3 funding, we could put that infrastructure in, the collection system in, and address the needs of those people whose systems are not performing well and wanted to connect to it. You do that immediately and add others as time unfolded. That's why council asked for us to develop policies about grandfathering existing systems. A lot of people have paid for the new tertiary system and paid a significant cost. There's a good life expectancy for those systems. And so we weren't about to say to those people who put in a new system saying, saying, guess what? Next year we're putting in a collection system and you've got to participate in it. So again, all of these numbers have to be rationalized. In the meantime, the hard decision for council at this point in time is they have an opportunity, if the three partners are going to build this new plant, to get 2/3 funding for it. So everybody's working hard. Our partners are working hard to rationalize how they're going to make this happen. So at the end of the day, we're going to have a hard number for what the real cost is. And the $26 million estimate is high, low, or otherwise. And then we can, again, further burrow down to define how are we going to make this go. And there's the opportunity, I think it's December of this year, where the municipalities can say, sorry, it's too rich for our blood, we're gonna pursue another alternative. And they decide to handle their, if it's blue water or South Huron, in a different way, which causes everybody to rethink, okay, what is really needed now? If we're only gonna worry about ourselves, what is the best way and most efficient way of addressing that? So I'm not sure if any answer to that. It's a complex issue, and that's why.
I guess where I was going with it is, we've already spent $1 million+ looking at ways to make it happen.
Yes.
We know that there's no tangible evidence that we are causing harm to the environment at this point, right?
No.
So,
Well,
being that it's a mega
Dr.
project.
Balke mentioned in his analysis tonight that he analyzed and refined his calculations on the groundwater testing.
But you reiterated it when you said that, you know, in the event that somebody has a failing septic system, if we had this in place, then they could connect to that. So let's eliminate that big connection for right now and say, okay, we have old septic systems. We don't have any continual problems with them right now that are causing any major effects to our municipality. So what I'm saying is, we are in an economic downturn. What kind of approach would the feds look at, saying, okay, you know what, they're actually taking into thought that we don't want to spend this money right now because we don't have a big problem. And then if we came back to them because we do develop a problem 20 years down the road, do you really think that they're going to turn and say, well, now we're not going to give you the money that we were going to give you at one point because you guys have spent X amount of millions of dollars looking at this project, looking at this problem, and have realized that, you know what, right now we don't need to spend this money.
I think that's the challenge. I think the reason why council went after the grant, it's far easier to give the grant back. If you've got your hands on it, it's easier to give it back. If as the numbers come in, it doesn't make sense to do it. It's far easier to give it back than to say, no, we're not interested in it now. Then decide, once you've done all the numbers, say, man, we really need that 2/3 funding. Go to them and say, sorry, we made all the allocations. So that's the challenge of what, it's a moving target for council. They want to be ready to take advantage of whatever financial opportunities they are, but there's lots of details that have to be worked out in the meantime. There are two driving forces was based on what had occurred in our 3 municipalities, was there was a need to expand the existing facility for 2 reasons. One primarily was anticipated growth. The Pinery had taken a major chunk. South Bend at that time had taken another major chunk, and we didn't have capacity to meet any other people. So there was a need to expand what was there. To what extent? Everybody said they wanted the 40, whatever that the ultimate build-out was. But now they've had a chance to look at and analyze how can they do that. So that's why this is a snapshot in time. And as the committee finishes its work, it'll help, again, define that so council can make a decision. There's lots of municipalities, and we get regular contacts from the federal government about when is this project starting and when isn't, because we've got lots of people that we had to turn down. We'd be happy to utilize that funding. And I can't speak on what council's going to do. It would be hard pressed to proceed with something that it does not make economic viable sense for its ratepayers. It's not sustainable for them. So they're working hard to refine that data. That's why we need to know what the real cost of a single train, no train. We need to know whether our partners are in or whether they're out to really know what we have to do here. But we're trying to maintain as many options for us as we can while we have them. And the advantage of having the Green Municipal Fund and the Build Canada funding is we have options that can make this a lot easier on our ratepayers. So, okay. I'm trying to get off the soapbox. I'm trying to illustrate how complex.
I'll help you to get off.
Complex it is.
Okay. Just if I could ask a question to John Byrne. Mr. Byrne, the plant you quoted at 4659 cubic meters, hasn't that changed to train capacity? That may be the target that what is the capacity of the train?
That's taken from the Dillon presentation.
Credit, did they not update that? Isn't it somewhere in 7,600? What was the update they gave that credit?